You were not meant to be a slave to the grind. You were not meant to trade your life force for money. You can escape gravity. You can unlock your life. You got this. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to Unlock Your Life. I'm your host, Jennings Smith. Why do some people achieve goals and some people don't? Why do some people get a high level of success and others, given the same amount of opportunity, same amount of brain power, skills, whatever, they just don't? I've got a front row seat to this in the deal room. I see people come in and they can have stratospheric success, right? Within 1 to 2 years, they're closing 300, 500, 800, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 doors, amassing portfolios of $50 to $100 million. And I see people in, my free Facebook group who have the same opportunities, the same resources available to them. And for years, I see them stagnant. I see them not going anywhere. And I also seen it myself for years where I really didn't achieve a whole lot. And all of a sudden, boom, breaking through a ceiling, making a lot of progress in a short period of time. And so today, I'm going to give you a formula to achieve any goal that you want. We're also going to kind of wipe away the theory of the goal is the ultimate thing. I know it's January, beginning of the year. Everybody's setting goals. Everybody's putting out there what they want to achieve, what they want to accomplish. And most of the time by February, March, those goals go in the trash can, they get forgotten, and they got brought back up in next January. So let's try it again. We see this, the gyms fill up with people. New Year's resolutions, I'm going to, spend more time with my family. I'm going to work less. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to work out. I'm going to make $1 million this year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so if goals are the answer, then why don't they have more results? Why does it not work? If all you had to do was just write out your goals and write out a plan, and if you had a plan, you could make that work, then why don't we see more results? And how can we get more results in our life? Well, I would challenge you this year. Something that I'm doing is, I wouldn't say I'm throwing goals in the trash can, but I'm taking it a step further, right? So if you lay out a goal, let's say your goal for 2024 is that you want to get in shape. Okay, that's the goal. I want to be in shape. What does that look like? All right, let's define it. I want to weigh 185 pounds. I want to have, 15% or less body fat. I want to work out 3 times a week. I want to do some cardio 3 times a week. And this is what I would consider to be fit. I've got a 6-pack, I got muscles, et cetera, and that would be the goal, right? But that goal is way out in the future. Who knows how far out in the future it is? Depending on the actions you take, you may never even hit it. And so until you are at 13% body fat and weigh what you want to weigh and can bench press what you want to bench press and whatever, you could consider to be a failure. You could be considered to be a failure because you haven't hit the goal yet. If you want to make $1 million and you haven't made $1 million yet, well, then you're a failure if you're measuring yourself by the goal. But what leads to goals? What leads to this thing getting accomplished? And can you win right now? Right? So what I'm proposing and what I'm purposing this year is focusing on the habits that are going to lead to that goal. And I know I'm telling you nothing new, so stick with me because there is a secret to making a habit stick. Right? There are some real tangible tools that we can implement to make habits stick. That's what a New Year's resolution is. I'm going to get in the habit of going to the gym. I'm going to get in the habit of eating better. I'm going to get in the habit of cold calling some brokers or whatever you're going to do. Well, how can we make those habits real? How can we raise the stakes on those, elevate our standards, and have real tangible gates in place to keep us on track? That's what we're going to talk about. Okay? So let's talk about Instagram. Instagram is an app. It's on my phone, and I've really enjoyed looking at Reels. Maybe you're like me. You open up your phone on a spare minute, and you open up the Reels, and it's like, bam, entertainment. I mean, these things suck you in. I started playing pickleball, and now Instagram's showing me pickleball Reels. And it's showing me business stuff and mindset stuff and real estate stuff and all the things that I want to see, it's showing it. And the more I look at it, the more better this little app gets at showing me more of what I'm going to watch so that I stay on this freaking app longer and longer and longer. And what I realize is like, holy cow, I am spending a lot of time on Instagram and I'm not working. I'm not achieving my goals. I'm not accomplishing anything of purpose or value. I'm just literally wasting time. And I will like throw the phone, be like, oh my gosh, I just wasted 20 minutes And I feel worse. I feel stressed out. A lot of the stuff I'm seeing, it makes me feel like I'm not doing enough. It's frankly not good. But, they're like, oh, well, you have to have Instagram, Jennings. You're on Instagram. You're posting all these reels and you got to interact with your people and you got to answer DMs and blah, 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 and all the reasons why I need to be on Instagram. Right? But I am in a bad habit. So how do I change that habit? How do I adjust that habit? So let's talk about some other things. Doritos, right? I'm eating Doritos every night. This is not currently, but I was eating Doritos every night. I'd go to bed, I'd go downstairs, I'd be like, oh, I'm kind of hungry, go back downstairs, make myself a bowl of Doritos, eat the Doritos, fall asleep. And then it was like, I did it the next night, and the next night, and the next. Before I know it, I'm going months every night eating some sort of like chips or whatever at night. And it's like, wow, this is an ingrained habit. I have to stop this habit. Working out. I've never worked out much. I worked out when I was a teenager in my early 20s, got into construction, got too busy, had kids, got fat, got out of shape. I was throwing my back out all the time. I wasn't strong. I was skinny, but also kind of fat on my gut. It was terrible, right? Because just didn't have that habit. Sleeping in, right? Winter comes, gets colder, it's a little harder to get up. You're staying up late, eating the Doritos, and before you know it, you're sleeping in until 7:30, 8 o'clock, and not a great habit. Eating, hey, let me swing by the fast food place. Let me grab a burger and milkshake and whatever. All these things creep in. And this show is not to help you set goals or know what habits. You know what you need to do. That's not people's problem typically. They don't know what to do. They know, what you need to do. But those things that I just listed off, Instagram, Doritos, working out, getting up early, eating bad diet, those were all things that I was able to materially change through implementing what I'm going to talk to you about. So how do you make a habit, and how do you make it stick, and how do you achieve the goal? Right? Because you want to achieve the apartment complex, the deal, you want to be in better shape, whatever it is that you want to do. How do we do that? Here's how we do it, guys. We have to make the habit easy. So if you think about your self-discipline, you have the same amount of self-discipline as everybody else. They've done scientific studies on this. They've shown that pretty much everybody has the same amount of willpower or discipline. However, it's like a battery, right? And the more often that you use that willpower, the harder it is to keep it up. It depletes, just like your cell phone battery. So in this instance, let's say I'm laying in my bed upstairs and I'm kind of hungry for a snack, and I go down and I look at the Doritos and I say no. And I'm like, I'm not gonna eat the Doritos. And I go to bed. Well, I've just depleted a little bit of willpower. And maybe the next day, I just eat a little bowl. And the next day, I eat a little bit more. And my willpower is not strong enough. So how can I make that habit easy? Well, there's 3 things you can do. Number 1, changing your environment. Number 2, telling people and throwing your hat over the fence. It's a term. Like if you want to cross over a fence, well, throw your hat over the fence or your backpack or your coat or whatever. So now you got to get over that fence to go get it. Like make a commitment, a public commitment, telling people. And number 3, getting accountable with a specific person and time and having pain associated with it. So I want to challenge you. Think about something that you want to do, right, for the new year. Let's say your New Year's resolution is you want to get in shape. Well, how could you make it impossible to fail? How could you make it, what if the stakes were so high? Like if you did not work out 3 times a week and eat right, then you were going to die of cancer, right? A lot of people, when that why gets big enough, they're able to really, really quickly change behaviors. They go meet the doctor. Hey, you got cancer. If you don't change this and this and this, you're going to die. Suddenly they have the willpower now and they've got the mindset change to change that. And so what we're going to do is you're going to take your body's ability to do superhuman things and we're going to trick it into thinking the stakes are higher now. Okay? So how can we elevate the stakes on a habit so that we can change those habits, achieve the goal, and change our life? So I'm going to give you tangible examples on all those 5 things I broke down. Okay, so for Doritos, it's simple, right? Don't buy Doritos. If there's no Doritos in the cabinet when I go down there, all I got to do is be like, okay, well, there's no Doritos, I'll eat an apple. there's no chips, there's no snack food. And the more snack food and stuff that we have in this house, the more I'm going to eat it because I don't have the self-discipline. I am not this disciplined monster. I'm just weak, right? But if I don't have it, if the option's not there, okay, now do I really want to go get my car keys, go out at 9:30 at night, drive to the grocery store and buy a bag of Doritos? No, I'm not going to do that. And so it becomes a lot easier just to say no. With Instagram, for TikTok, I just deleted it off my phone because I don't really engage on TikTok. It was easy. It was wasting my time. I just deleted it. So now I don't have to do it. So now if I want to get on TikTok, I've got to re-download the app. I got to log back in. It's a real pain in the butt. I'm probably not going to do that. So with Instagram, though, I can't do that. I do have to engage on Instagram. I have to respond to comments and whatever. And I drive business that way. So what I did was I made the goal that my habit is I'm only going to use Instagram for work, right? I'm only going to use Instagram for work. So that's the thing that I'm setting. Now I'm also telling my wife I'm only going to use Instagram for work. Telling my colleagues, my business partners, hey, I'm only going to use Instagram for work. Then I'm also taking the app and I'm putting it in like a little hidden folder in my phone. So now I got to go into this hidden folder, open up the app so that I'm not just mindlessly pulling the phone out and hitting the button. Right? And those little things are just simple ways to do that. Another thing is I could get an account. If that doesn't work for me, I could get an accountability partner around it. I could say, hey, Yaden, look, I'm trying to stay off Instagram. I'm going to text you at 5 o'clock every night. Like, hey, did I waste time on Instagram or did I only use it for work today? And if I did, well, I'm going to buy you lunch next time or some sort of painful thing associated with that. And this is where I'm saying it doesn't have to be like this superhuman thing. It could be a simple behavior change to take away the amount of self-discipline. Because if the app is just always there, it's right there in the corner, and you're mindlessly pulling it up and doing that, it's hard to have that self-discipline. Whereas it's like, okay, it's buried. I have to go search for it. And when I'm searching for it, I'm consciously thinking, okay, I'm only going to open this up to do work on this deal. And so far, that has worked for me. Let's go for something a little harder, working out. Like I said, I really wasn't into working out. I tried working out. I'd join a gym. We were paying $150 a month to go to the YMCA, and I was never going. Or I would go in spurts. I'd go for a week or two, and then I'd fall off. I'd buy a book. I bought the 4-Hour Body, got fired up about it. And within a month, I was like, I hurt my shoulder, and then I quit going, and then I, made a bunch of excuses and whatever. And I'm not dogging myself for not having the ironclad discipline to do that, but I am learning something about myself. Know yourself. So my psyche, I'm just not somebody that loves to work out. That's okay. I still want the benefits of it though, and I know it's healthy, I know it's important, and the more I do it, the less stressed out I am and the more clear-headed I am, healthier I am. So it's definitely something I want part of my life. So how do I make it easy? Well, for me, what I had to do was I had to go get like a set time. Like I had to get a trainer, and I had to get a set time to do that. I can't afford a trainer. You don't have to have a trainer. There's a million people that are working out. Go find a buddy that will meet you there. For me, I had a trainer who could meet with me 3 times a week, and it's like $50 a session. It's not crazy expensive, but he keeps me on track. Like I actually got to go today at 3 p.m. I'm meeting him there. I got a standing appointment Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 3 p.m. I meet with him. We work out for an hour. He pushes me. It sucks. I've been doing it for like 3 years now, and it still sucks. I hate it. But he keeps me on track, and that leads to keeping me on track with my food. And going to the food, I wasn't tracking my food. I wasn't eating right. And my trainer was kind of hammering me like, why don't you text me what you're eating? So eventually he said, okay, you're going to log your food and you're going to text me what you eat for 30 days. I said, dude, I'm not going to do it. And he laughed. He's like, well, why not? I said, because I just don't care enough. And he said, well, all right, bet me. And then my competitive streak fired up a little bit. He said, look, you bet me that if you do this for 30 days, or if you don't do this for 30 days in a row, you got to pay me $200. And I was like, all right. And what do I get if I lose? And he said, well, I'll go on a blind date. I was trying to set him up with a blind date with somebody. He's a single guy. So I was like, all right, deal. So we shook hands, and boom, all of a sudden it was pretty easy to remember to log my food and to send it to him every day. And I actually did fail. I think it was like day 27. I forgot, I went to bed, whatever. And so I did end up having to pay the $200. But it got me in that habit. And for that whole day, or that whole month, I think out of 31 days, I did it 30 days, which was a vast improvement from what I had been doing before. And right, so focusing on, I want to have 13% body fat and I want to weigh 185 pounds and I want to be able to bench press this and lift that and be looking, got my six pack and all that. That will come with the habits. Closing your first multi-million-dollar apartment deal will come if you have the habits of, I'm going to call 3 brokers a day. I'm going to talk to 10 investors a week. I'm going to reach out to 5 potential partners a month. I'm going to go to 4 conferences a year. You do those things, it will come, right? But people don't get into those habits, or they get into those habits for a very, very short period of time, and then they don't see immediate results, and then they give up, and then they say that doesn't work, and then before you know it, another year's slip by, and they're no closer to their goal because they didn't put those gates in place. So going back to this, changing your environment. What is a simple thing? Sleeping in, all I had to do was take my phone, set the alarm, and put it in the bathroom so that I didn't wake up and start scrolling Instagram. It's all I had to do to change the environment, to change that habit. Telling people, everybody knows I work out 3 times a week. Everybody knows that I'm not going to be on Instagram for mindlessly scrolling reels. Telling people and making that public commitment that this is what I'm going to do. Because the social pressure of I want to be someone that does what they say they're going to do is very, very critical to understand that, because it works. And when you're the only person that knows what you want to do or you're going to do, it's really, really easy to break that promise to yourself, even though you're the most important person to be keeping a promise to. And then lastly, getting accountable with a specific person, with a specific time, and having maybe something painful associated with it. I've got a guy in a parenting mastermind that I'm in, and he's got a bet with a dude. He doesn't want to look at pornography. And so he has to pay this guy $2,000 if he looks at pornography. And I think he's gone like 2 years now without looking at any pornography one time. Or he raised the stakes. He got accountable to somebody. I think they check in once a week. And so this is a habit, a bad habit that he was able to, eviscerate from his life. And so when we get accountable, because you know what it's going to take. You know the habits that you need to implement, but you're just not raising the stakes high enough. You're not making it important enough. If I told you, hey, you've got to make 10 cold calls a week to investors or brokers for the next year, or your child is going to die. I know I'm speaking in hyperbole. I know I'm going way outside of the box. Okay, but think about this. If your child was literally going to die, what kind of systems and processes and safeguards would you put in place if your child's life was at stake? I don't know. I mean, if it was me, I'd be having like 10 alarms set on my phone. I'd have an accountability partner. I'd have somebody that would call me every evening to make sure that I had done that work for the day. And if I hadn't, to go ahead and get it done. I would have 3 or 4 safety nets set in place, accountability partners, systems, calendars, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody, my whole community would be knowing what I'm doing. They'd be rooting for me because the stakes are too high. I can't miss. I can't let them down. And so, yes, your child is not going to die if you don't make 10 cold calls a week, but your future might. You may not ever achieve the goals that you want to achieve. You may not get to become the person and unlock your life the way you want to because you're not taking the accountability seriously enough. You're not taking tangible, realistic steps, like just logical things, simple things, little things. So think about this. I want you to write down, like, this is the habit I want to implement, and go crazy, right? Write down like a whole page worth of accountability, like craziness that you would do around that. That you don't have to do it, but just write it down and pick a couple out of them. So, for example, I want to work out. I want to get in shape. Okay, I'm going to join a gym. That's going to be accountability piece 1. I'm going to get a workout partner. You know what? I'm going to get 2 workout partners in case that guy flakes out. Then I have a backup partner. I'm going to hire a trainer. I'm going to buy a nutrition program. I'm going to get my wife on board with it too so that she's bought into it. I'm going to have her work out with me. I'm going to have a weekly check-in. I'm going to join, a national Facebook group of all these working out crazy people. I'm going to immerse myself in this culture, right? I'm going to writing down 10, 20, 30 things and then just pick out 1, 2, 3. If you pick out a couple of those and you build those gates, this is how habits become permanent, right? When it becomes easy. If it's easy and it doesn't take a lot of willpower, you're going to be able to do it. So how can I decrease my willpower, and change my environment, get the accountability around it, and tell as many people that I'm doing this as possible, because that's just more social pressure. This is when things get done. So guys, I know nobody wants to hear about habits and this, and it's a lot more fun for me to tell you, I'm going to make $10 million this year, and this is my goals, and I'm going to close 2,000 units and da-da-da-da. But I want to give you something that you can actually use. So if you listen to this podcast and you're working on a habit, hit me up. I'd love to talk it through with you, talk about the accountability, talk about the gates, give you some ideas on just simple things to change your physical habits. All right, guys, that's it for today. Have a great week and take some time to unlock your life. Peace.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.